Good afternoon and welcome to the OmniDog and OmniCat comic book review show. I'm OmniDog, joined, as always, by OmniCat.
Hi.
Also known as Kristen.
That's me.
Yeah, Queen of the Indie Comics. She joins me every other week on Saturdays, and we have been doing something different recently. We've been reading the same books. Instead of bringing our selections of what we wanted to read, we've taken the same 5 books this week, and you'll get our insight into each book. And I got a package from Amazon, and it contained 2 of the most Kristen books ever that Kristen has ever recommended for me that Kristen does. They were super to me. Even Kristen said they were super Kristen.
Yeah. Yeah, you got them, and you just looked at the covers, and you're like, of course, this is you. That's right. And I'm like, yeah, that's true.
We already have some people. Here's Mary M. She's always nice. And
hi, Mary.
Always shows up. Thank you. Appreciate that. Bruce Johannes. And what records? Those records remind me of old Power records that had comic book with 45 inside sleeve, which had someone narrating comic book. What records are we talking about? Is that
probably your stock image?
My stock image? Okay.
Yeah,
that makes sense. There's Aiku, who I read Birthright for. How's it going, Aiku? Good to see you. Here is a new member of the page, the Quackster. Happy early Father's Day, Jess. Thank you. And there's the Death Star as his avatar that he and his brother built. That is very impressive.
You know what's fun? I saw my dad yesterday as an early Father's Day.
Uh-huh.
And I gave him his present, which was Shiver by Junji Ito. He's never read a manga in his life.
Oh, he hasn't?
I had to teach him how while he was here.
Sure.
Of course. And I'm looking forward to it. I don't know how it's going to go, but I know if he can get into it, he will like the stories.
Uh-huh.
He already likes the art. So, because I read Ito and I'm like, this is such it's broken down into a horror Twilight Zone-y kind of situation. And he loves Twilight Zone. So I just know if he can get into it, he'll like it.
Yeah, well, it's the reason I keep going back to it, to that particular writer, is his style or the images he draws seems to be easier for me to follow, since I don't have the natural way that a lot of you guys do of reading it backwards. But I can follow it a little bit easier. I haven't read Shiver yet. Let's see. Do I own it? Is Shiver the other one that I own?
Shiver's the other one. Yeah, that's what you said.
Okay. What's the premise of Shiver? Do you know?
It's also a ton of short stories.
Oh, okay.
Kind of like some of the other ones. So I feel like the short story collections are so easy to just throw at someone and be like, here, try some. Because there's so many different stories. The first one starts out, I think I told this when I reviewed it on this channel, but it's about a record that you listen to and everyone's haunted by it. So it's this woman who has this voice that everyone is drawn to. And toward the end of the record, it's just a really short song. She sounds like she's drifting off. And you find out that, I think it's early on you find out, it's not a spoiler, but she actually died while recording this. So then people start listening to this record and weird things start happening.
Oh my, that sounds so cool.
It's really cool.
I'm glad I still have it.
You'll enjoy it.
Good. Okay, so you've already read that, so that won't be something that we read together. But Bruce,
I'd read it again.
Oh, okay, good. Bruce has a question for you. This is a possible topic for the future. All those Marvel books behind OmniCat, but we never do a review on them.
I mean, we can.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. That's the beauty of this show. We can do whatever you guys want us to do.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, if anyone wants to throw out some suggestions for some Marvel books, I'd be happy to.
Yeah, sure. What are all those Marvel books behind you? Have they all been read?
Oh no. Can any of us say that? Come on. Some
Well,
of them.
this
A
would
good
be
chunk.
this would be a good chance for us to both probably read some Marvel stuff.
Definitely.
You can look at what you've got and compare it to what I've got. Maybe we can do that for the next review show. Get
Yeah.
some Marvel stuff.
Did you ever read that Moon Knight by Lemire?
I did.
Okay, you did. Mine is still sitting there, and I know it's way out of print now, and I'm like, I still didn't touch that yet.
Oh my gosh! And you're like
I
the
know.
biggest Lemire fan.
I know. I get distracted by new books. It's part of my problem.
I totally get that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what made me read it. I don't think I've reviewed it, or maybe I did review it. I can't remember. I was going to review it with Tyler, but maybe I reviewed it with Taylor. Now I can't think. I feel like we did a Moon Knight thing, but this is like a month ago, and my memory only goes back to noon today.
Part of my problem is finding a Marvel thing that you haven't already read. That I have
Really?
that you haven't already read, yeah.
Well, there's lots that I haven't read. I'm not up to date on Ms. Marvel. I've only read. There's like the 3 hardcovers of that. Oh, there's so much Marvel I haven't read.
There's probably tons. I mean, just finding something that overlaps in our collection.
Oh yeah.
You know.
The Venn diagram.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah. Here's a good question from Bavarian Rev. Where are you at with reading the TMNT hardcovers? I just finished volume 5 and it got insane. That is great to hear because Tyler Blunt and I next week are starting back up reviewing, and we're going to do nothing but TMNT until we get the whole series read. And we're going to be doing volume 5 because volume 4 finished really interesting, and 5 is supposed to be where it gets really intense and fun. So that's what's going to happen. I don't think we're going to do it live. We're going to pre-record it and then release it. But that's where I am, and 5 sounds exciting. Ooh, Immortal Hulk, that's good. Have you read that?
I read the first trade. I liked it.
Yeah. Venom by Cates, that's good too. I haven't. I read the first trade, but now I have the hardcover, and I need to read the hardcover. And here's the question that I always hate getting, but I always answer it as honestly as possible. How much is unread? Alexandre, I will admit to you that about 75% of my collection is unread.
It's crazy talk, man. I think there's a lot of people, though. I know a lot of people literally have like spreadsheets and can do the percentage. I don't know how to like do that. Like I wouldn't know where to start.
Yeah, it's just a guess on my part.
Yeah, there's no way it's that much, but it's, I don't know.
It could be even worse than that. I even though I read every day, every day, and I read 2 or 3 books a day. I have so much that it just doesn't feel like I'll ever get caught up.
Yeah, I feel like I made a controversial statement on one of these shows that people have brought up since, where I said I'm not a big rereader. And I'm like, but how can we ever get through our collections if we're just constantly rereading? Well, now lately, I've been rereading stuff. So that has also slowed down my getting to other books. So, what do you do?
Let's see. Freddie Alonso has an idea. Did you get to Deadpool World's Greatest? I know Kristen did. Have you read all of those?
I did.
You already read them. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I talked about them on the show.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I read the first hardcover, and I'm going to read the next ones. Let's see. I think Kristen has a good read.
Yeah, hold on. Mine is 400 books. I'm actually doing really great on it this year because it's only June. I'm at 294 read. out of 400 as my goal. So
400 was your goal?
yeah.
Oh, wow. And you're doing really well if it's only June.
73% complete. I'm like, oh, I guess I should have bumped it up. But I thought that was already like, oh, there's no way. Like, I was already like, that's not happening.
Now,
but it's happening.
On Goodreads, is there a way to organize it so what you've read can be by date?
Oh, yeah. I mean, anytime you... Yeah, totally.
Okay, good. I might need a quick lesson from you on that, because I looked at it the other day and I'm like, that's not the last book I read at all. And I've been really trying to capture everything that I've read so I can keep track of it.
Well, if you're like me, I think I've said this before, but I grab a book, I pick up Goodreads, I scan the book, I put it on my currently reading shelf before I even start it. It not only logs your date, but the exact time you started it. So then I read the book. The moment I'm done, I go to Goodreads and I say I finished it and I rate it. And then it's there. And so, like, you know, I know exactly what I've read this year because it's on my reading challenge. Well, here we go. Here we go.
Oh, there it is.
You know, so there's some books.
Yeah, well, here's what, okay. Mine's buried here. Let's see. Here it is. Goodreads. My books. Read. Sort by date read, but this is not the Superman Batman Public Enemies is not the last book I read.
Did you put the last book you read on there? It can't read your mind.
Let me reverse it and see what it says. I did put it. It's Superman Batman.
I know some people who like read a slew of books and then go in and mark them all as read.
Yeah.
So if you do that and you don't do it in the order of what you read, it's not going to show you the order.
You know? Okay.
And that's why I've just gotten into the habit over these years of using Goodreads to be like, okay, this is when I read it. And I know exactly how long it took from the dates. And then when you reread it, it'll put your new dates on there. And it shows you the order that you read them in.
Oh, this is all messed up. I mean, it does have everything I've read, but it doesn't have the dates. I mean, it's got some of last year's and this year's. So I'm going to have to figure something out, because I'm not writing things down on the piece of paper like I used to. So I don't have that as my backup. Everything's on Goodreads. So I've got to figure out how to get my dates right.
Yeah, I mean, you can manually change the date, like if you happen to know when you read it. But if you don't mark it that day, it's going to say whatever day you marked it. Yeah. So if you go in like 2 weeks from now and put the books you read like 3 weeks ago, well, it's going to say that date.
As long as it's this year, I'm okay.
If you put them in this year, it'll say this year.
Okay. Let's see. Yeah, Kristen, I do the same. It helps for my reading versus unread catalog as well.
Definitely.
Jessica Ashcroft. I have been rereading a ton during the pandemic. It's weirdly comforting. Anything that's comforting during this time, I am a big fan of.
Well, and there is science to show that reading is very soothing. It calms you down. So it's not weird. It's just science.
I think her point was she's been rereading, though. So
okay.
She'd already been.
I'm currently rereading Shoe, and it's been really fun. So that's been cool. That's what's right beside me.
Ah, okay.
I also have a Chog over here.
Freddie Alonso, is that a Strange Planets shirt?
Yes, it is. I love Strange Planet.
Okay, what is Strange Planets?
It's a webcomic that you need to be reading because it's lovely. Yeah.
Okay.
You've probably seen, these little aliens. I found this. It's vibrating.
Them, yeah.
Yeah, you've probably seen them around. It's very popular.
Are you on a laptop or a desktop? I mean, yeah. Are you on a laptop?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bruce is asking if you could pan around your shelves real quick.
Oh, all of them?
Well, just what's behind you. How about?
What's behind me? Let's see.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
here?
that'd be good.
There's the Marvel. It's a little disorganized. There's some manga on the top.
Ooh, here's the Akira box.
Yeah. And then over here is like the hardcovers, and then there's some strips and stuff on the top. There's some of my pictures I told you about.
Oh yeah.
Jake. These are my hardcover shelves. There's the Poyo. It's hard to know which direction, like I said.
Yeah.
Over here,
the mirroring is goofy. Oh yeah.
hard to see over here. That's my paperback shelf.
Okay.
So that's all paperbacks.
Well,
They're in order of size.
I've never seen that part of your collection.
Yeah. There's even more. Oh, there's Reed. You want to be on, Reed? Hey! I'm trying to pan around I can't really pan that way. Hold on. Am I doing a room tour? Someone asked. I'll have to get that. But there's another shelf that has like my Disney strips and some other strips, some books I couldn't fit anywhere else. And then there's a whole manga shelf over here. And then there's some novels here that nobody cares about those.
Pros?
Come on. Duh.
So what book would you like to talk about first? Because we've got a pretty wide selection, and I think every one of these books was interesting, very interesting.
Yeah. Let's go with one that people can expect us to do. How about which is Black Hammer and the Justice League?
Okay. Yep. We both got this one.
Yeah, Reed, we're going to review a book now.
Okay, bye.
Well, we got him yelling. Yeah. That's what the fans
Freddie.
want.
He said, "Is Freddie watching?" He said, "Hi."
Yeah, Freddie is watching. Freddie said, "Hey, Reed."
Oh, he said, "Hey, Reed."
Hey.
Feed the cats. They're begging. Okay. We're just having a domestic dispute. It's fine. Over cat food. Yeah, Black Hammer and the Justice League. I think we both have this sitting around for a bit, right?
Yeah.
So what this is about, one, I will say, people have asked me this. Can I just jump into this if I haven't read Black Hammer? I would say you shouldn't. I would say you could.
Yeah.
Shouldn't, yeah.
You should not.
Should not.
No.
You can. I wouldn't do it. I think you're going to get nothing out of this if you don't know about Black Hammer.
Agreed. 100% agreed.
Because pretty much the basis of the story is the characters from Black Hammer and the whole Justice League. Something magical happens, and they basically trade places. Settings-wise, right? So Justice League gets stuck on the farm that Black Hammer characters have been stuck on. They think they've been there for over 10 years. They haven't, but they feel like they have. And then the Black Hammer characters are suddenly not stuck on the farm. And it was really fun.
And Gail gets to grow up and be a woman
Yeah.
a little bit.
That broke my heart a little, you know?
Yeah. Because, she's always like an 8-year-old going out for cocktails.
Yeah. Looking like this, yeah.
Yeah.
I really like the art. Who did the art, by the way? Michael Walsh. Is that right?
Yeah.
It's good art. This is a standard hardcover, but it's a really nice standard hardcover.
Yeah.
I thought it felt really nice.
And it's funny when Barb Alien meets Martian Manhunter. We got a red Martian and a green Martian, and Barb Alien is hitting on like everybody, and so is Gail. She's hitting on
Aquaman.
Aquaman.
Yeah.
And so they, because of is it Colonel Weirdo? What's his name? Colonel.
Why can't I think of his name either? Hold on.
Colonel. Well, something's happened, and he's opened up dimensional gates, and they trade places, and let's see what is. And there's even some they go to worlds like, let me show this one. They go to the Bizarro world where there's Bizarro Bizalien, Bizarro Gale, Bizarro Alien. They go to all these different worlds. They're shifting because of what a Colonel, what's his name now? Colonel, oh, I'm just botching it. Colonel Weird. Yeah. Okay. So they're trapped, and Bruce thinks that they've been there for 10 years and they can't escape. And the other here she is. She's finally able to be a woman, her 62-year-old self or whatever. And the only thing, I thought it was a fun story, but I can't wreck the point of the story because then that gives it away. It'd be too much of a spoiler. If they're going to use that character that they introduce at the end, which seems to be the whole purpose of this book, then this is a very interesting read. But if they don't do anything with him, this book is worthless. I would think that they absolutely have to do something with the character they introduced at the end, or this is just an exercise in a pointless crossover. And the person they introduce is going to take full advantage of all the dimension hopping that Colonel Weird has. The Colonel Weird has opened the doors to.
The way they end it, especially, I'm re-looking at the last page. I think they're really hinting that they're going to do something with that character. And Black Hammer has been really good about, every spinoff they've had,
right?
Kind of bringing that into the main story, or at least feels like it does. It really has a purpose.
Right.
So.
Well, then I think this was awesome and super fun and everything I want in a crossover with two crossovers that really shouldn't make sense. This Black Hammer universe is so odd, and the DC universe is so structured. But if they do, in fact, go ahead and spin off from that character that they introduce, then I want to read this again and again and again, because this is going to be like the key appearance of this guy, and you're going to want to know more and more about him. And I sort of had a feeling that's who the character was going to be. Once I figured out what was going on, I figured out that's who the character was going to be. And I am in favor of that character. I like that character.
Yeah.
Do you have much experience with that character?
Oh, not at all. No. So, I mean, I don't have much experience with any of the Justice League. So this was just kind of like me liking Black Hammer and reading it.
Okay.
But I still thought it was really fun. Yeah, if it was just a one-off, it's like whatever. It's it's just a fun, like, okay, that happened. The end.
Yeah, like I do with X-Men. Just what happened to understand it.
I mean, I'd be fine if this never happens again. Like if they never cross over again. Like this is fine, just once.
Oh yeah, I agree with that.
But also that's me reading this and liking Black Hammer more than the Justice League. So
well,
I'd much rather read stories about them.
About Black Hammer?
Yeah.
When you've already had 80 years worth of stories told about you or whatever, you've told everything, and Black Hammer's brand new and fresh.
Yeah.
I guess Justice League came about in the early 60s, so 60 years. But and Black Hammer's such a new twist on everything that everything's going to seem fresh and captivating. But I think that if you're a fan of Black Hammer, then you definitely need to have this, because it helps introduce a new facet to the universe, and the more of that universe I can get, the better. I think.
Definitely.
I love that universe. And speaking of the universe, Jessica Ashcraft has a question for us. Which of the Black Hammer trades need to be read before? I get a little confused with the spin-off stuff.
Yeah, so I believe that's, if you're doing it by trades, the first 3, then you do the spin-offs. Is there an order to the spin-offs? I guess there may be.
I
One of these books had a reading order in it. Was it this one? No, it may have been something else.
I have the first library edition, then I have the trades that I'll get rid of once the big library edition comes out. But I just read them the order that they came out, the spin-offs.
That's what I did.
Whatever order they came out, they're independent of each other. Dr. Star, Quantum Age, Black Hammer 45, Streets of Spiral, and Sherlock Frankenstein. Dr. Star has been renamed, I think.
Yeah. As long as you've read the main series before the spin-offs, you'll be okay.
Right.
Because don't do the other way.
Yeah, no, you'll be totally lost. I would go ahead and read as much of the main series as possible. And then these spin-offs are super fun and help flesh out the rest of the world. And this universe that Jeff Lemire is building is really cool, with a lot of fantastic characters. And it's all his love letter to like the Silver Age and the Golden Age. So I don't know that there's an order necessarily. So you can just go ahead and get, as long as you get Black Hammer read, the first 4 trades or the first 2 library editions, then just get all these. They're great. There's a high rereadability factor in all of Black Hammer, I think.
Yeah, and those trades are really nice, but the spin-off library edition is coming in the fall. So if you do want to wait, you can get those bound together in a really nice hardcover.
And Aiku says there is a reading order, and that's the release order. Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't think it would hurt to follow that at all. It looks good. I think this and Gideon Falls are probably my 2 favorite books on the stands right now. Okay. Thanks, Aiku. You mean thanks, Jess and OmniCat. Come on, Jessica. No, I'm just kidding you. I'm just teasing you.
We didn't write that order out.
No, that's true. So, yeah. We dug Black Hammer and Justice League and hope they do something with the character introduced. And you're right. It sounds like they will. And if they do, I mean, then that means that we're going to see another crossover.
Well, they could do it as like whatever he did to affect the universe continues.
Yeah, right.
So they don't actually have to bring him back.
Oh, okay. I see.
You know what I mean? So they don't have to like share with DC, which they may prefer to do.
Just say that he mucked this up and this is what the consequences are? Okay.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
Which would also be cool.
Yeah. No, I'm okay with that. So yeah, that was Black Hammer, Justice League, and Barb Alien and Gale hitting on everyone.
Yeah, that was fun. That was very fun.
Let's see. Oh, this is a hopeful thing. Maybe a library edition of Gideon Falls will be made next year. That'd be amazing.
Well, I guess they can't call it that, though, right? So it would be maybe a Remender size Gideon Falls.
Wait,
It's image.
Why can't they call it?
It's an image book.
Oh, yeah. You're right. I forgot about that.
I'd take a deluxe. That'd be nice.
That
I'm
would
waiting
be
for
nice.
it. Yeah. I think it'll happen. It's just when.
And IQ, I already ordered the new Gideon Falls trade. If there's lettering missing, I hope it's not a lot, because that is weird that I didn't find out about it till well after I ordered it.
It is weird.
I
I heard about that.
Yeah. Here's River. Hey, River, how's it going? So we have commissioned Reed. He doesn't know it yet, but he's going to do a background for us.
Yeah.
Up here, it's just Harrow County. And I didn't have anything else. So we should have a new backdrop for the next time we get on, which is exciting. That's the kind of thing that excites me.
Definitely.
Yeah. Does Amazon have the Doomsday Clock slipcase for the second hardcover? I'm sure they do. I know IST does because I just ordered it. Oh, that's direct market only. IQ, what would we do without you? You're answering all these questions that I'm botching up. Thank you. So it's direct market only. So Amazon wouldn't have it. Only your comic book store or IST, DCBS, Tales of Wonder, something like that. Royal City is getting a deluxe, so Gideon Falls seems very possible.
Yeah, I think Gideon Falls is selling better as well. So
yeah. Oh, and River likes this backdrop. Well, good. So let me just show you what I got in the mail earlier this week that came with a neon sign that said, highly Kristen approved. These two books, if these don't look like Kristen books, I don't know what does.
yeah.
I mean, there's a girl who's got antler hair, and then another one that's haunted by a ghost in her hair. And they're not very big. This one's more digest sized. But when I pulled them out, I said, these have Kristen's stamp of approval all over them.
Mm-hmm,
And now, before we get into talking about them, what made you choose these, or how did you hear about them?
Well, I just look up when first, second books come out when this happens. So I read this in February. I recently reread it with Maddie for our show, Fangirls Assemble.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And, you were like, let's get some books together. And I'm like, I really want Jess to read this. So that's why. So I reread this. And reading it the second time, I still loved it. So I was like, I would like to know what Jess thinks about this. So that's how we picked this.
Okay.
So if you want to talk about this one, how about you tell me about it and what you thought?
Well, Snapdragon is about okay, wait. It's about a lot of things, so I need to get my thoughts in order. Her name is Snapdragon. She's named after a flower because all the girls in her families, that's the tradition. She appears to be a young woman of color who wears her hair up in antler styles. And this is the town ghost, this old woman with the eye patch. I'm sorry, town witch.
Or is she?
Sorry?
Or is she?
Or is she? Snaps thinks that she's got this old woman has the reputation as the town's witch, and Snaps is I will say the way this thing is drawn, she does have a lot of angry moments. This little girl does. where she storms off an awful lot from everybody. That's one thing I noticed about her. But she's also got a best friend, a young African American boy who is clearly into cross-dressing. And he's a young boy. I don't know how a young boy could get away with that, because he's got older brothers who, you know, would probably tease the heck out of him. But they're close friends, and they're two oddballs. Snapdragon's a bit of an oddball. The witch sells skeletons of roadkill online, is how she makes her living. But she also can heal. She also can heal animals that are hurt. So she does have some powers, and she takes Snap under her wing to teach her some of her witchy powers. And Snap takes to it. It takes a while for Snap to get into it, because she is impatient. She's very impatient. And the old woman has a tie to her family that they find out about later. And this has several layers going on in it, this book. It's got the cross-dressing guy. It's got the tomboyish gal. It's got the mom who is accepting of both of them. The mom of, actually, cross-dressing boy's mom seems to be fine with it too, with his cross-dressing, which is good.
Well, I do need to interrupt. He's not just cross-dressing.
Oh, does he want to be trans?
Well, not want to be. He is trans by the end of the book. I mean, they call her Lulu.
I didn't pick up on that.
Yeah. Snap then refers to her friend as she, and their name is Lulu. That happens probably toward the middle somewhere, I guess.
Yeah,
it's not a cross-dressing thing. It's
that's a major plot point. How did I miss that?
Yeah.
Good grief. Well,
total name change and everything.
Yeah. Well, in the witch has the ghosts of previous animals that she's cared for tend to follow her around. This deer possesses her motorcycle to make it go faster, and I'm really embarrassed now. I gotta find that. There's
even a conversation in the car with Snap and her mom, where her mom's like, "Do you feel like you're a boy, like Lulu's a girl?" And she's like, "No, I'm just not like other girls."
Right. Is that when she starts wearing lipstick? Because I noticed she starts wearing lipstick towards the middle of the book with earrings.
I'm trying to find the exact moment, but I don't know when that is. Let's see.
Well,
not here. It's a little past the middle for sure.
Here she is looking a lot, with earrings and lipstick.
And Snap helps her grow out her hair and all that.
Right. By using magic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a whole magic element.
Yeah. We're getting hung
there
up
is
on
so much. Yeah. So much going on.
We're getting hung up kind of on the trans thing, and it's apparently handled so well I barely noticed it.
Yeah, I just had to correct you there because you know.
I appreciate that. Thank you. And Snap has a way with a magic, and it takes her a little while, but she eventually gets it and is able to use it as a force for good. And it turns out the witch is actually involved with her family. I don't want to spoil it because it's an interesting way to find out about it. But there's a bad guy, which is Snap's mom's ex-boyfriend, and Snap handles him. Wait, yes, Snap handles him really well because her dog. The ex-boyfriend left his dog with the family, and something happened, and he only ended up with 3 legs. But the family loves him, and something cool really happens when the jerky ex-boyfriend comes over with like 2 vicious pit bull type dogs, and Snaps is able to win them over with like super love magic, and she ends up getting to keep those dogs too, and takes on the she does a lot of growing up in the book because she couldn't have taken on that guy in the very beginning, but she grows due to the witch's help and her use of magic. I loved this book, even though I apparently didn't notice everything in it.
Well, that's a testament to how much was going on. And like you said, I think how well done it was, especially this is a smaller book. It's probably aimed at younger readers, but I thought it was an amazing, all ages. Every age can get something from this, or like just not get something from this. And I loved it. I just found it so, so unique. I've never read another story like this. And so often, you know, you and I both have been reading for years. We've read so many different things. It's hard to say that anymore.
Yeah.
But I found this so unique. The characters were so well done. There was so much going on with them. And like you said, they all grew tremendously when you hit the end. You felt like there was tons of character development with Snap, her friend, the witch, like everyone involved. And I just love how it came together. This was one of my favorite reads of the year so far.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree. I loved it because oh, okay. Here she's saying, call me Lulu. Okay. Well, I'm gonna have to go back over the middle of this, but I love this book because it treated everything with respect and gave everybody a chance to grow, as you said, but in a respectful manner. Everything is treated organically, like this is the way it's supposed to happen. Snaps is supposed to get her lessons in magic. Lulu's supposed to transform. The dogs are supposed to end up being good friends with each other, and it just because I didn't like how it started out because of her impulsiveness and her she seems to be short-tempered, but that seems to be sort of smoothed over by the end.
Yeah, and I think that was part of her growth, right? Because she is a kid.
Right.
And there are kids like that who are just, you know, she didn't want to make friends in the beginning. She was getting bullied at school. She had a lot going on. So I think we all know what that feels like. And the kind of the rage that you want to take out, maybe as a kid, some people did. But I think, yeah, especially toward the end, I mean, every character, the mom, everyone had a big growth and learned stuff from their life experiences. And again, it was just such a unique story. Like the bones, everything that was so weird, but like made sense. It just felt like it was like, yeah, this is normal. This makes sense for this world, you know?
That the woman sells bones online of
I didn't even question it. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. You know, it's just like, yeah, like what a unique, weird plot point, right? Like,
yeah. Here she is making Lulu's hair pop out using magic. And I did notice that part. I didn't just run right over that.
Yeah, and Kat Lay, who did this book, she did some Lumberjanes too, and I think you could feel the fun and adventure in this book that we also can feel in Lumberjanes. You know.
Yeah.
She did everything. She did the colors and the writing and the art, and I thought it was great.
I loved it a lot because there's a lot of standing up to bullies too, and there's a lot of parental support for standing up to the bullies. And I don't know. This is not typically a book I would know to pick up. So I really appreciate the fact that we're doing these. We're reviewing the exact same books.
Because then I can make you pick up these Kristen books. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And this one was really good. I really liked it. And it's not, I'll be honest, it's not a typical Jess book. I'm sure you knew that. But
Yep.
I'm open to reading anything as long as it's not super wordy. And, none of these books can have a lecture bunny vibe coming from it. I don't need to be talked to by a lecture bunny.
No one wants that.
No. You can get your point across without lecturing me. And I like this book a lot. And I have not entered it into Goodreads yet, but it will be getting 5 stars from
Yes, me too.
Excellent. Oh,
Well-
good. Here's Freddie. He makes me feel better. It was a subtle transition during the book. I didn't pick up on it quick either, Just. Thank you, Freddie. I appreciate
Well, and that was kind of the cool thing about it, right? It was just like, this happened. We're not going to make a big deal about it. It just happened,
Yeah. I guess you're
It's
right.
cool.
Yeah. I do have a Kristen's shelf, IQ. It's overflowing now, but I do have a Kristen shelf.
Nice.
Let's see if it's in any kind of order that I can show it in. Where is it? Harrow County's on it. So here's what my Kristen shelf looks like, and it may be getting some.
Nice.
There it is.
Oh, yeah. We got to read that cat book.
Right, Cats of the Louvre.
Oh, it's so good.
So
Yeah,
that's
Kiss
the
number
Kristen
8. Yeah.
Yeah, Kiss number 8. Canto is there. Waves is there. Now, have you read Rust?
You know what? I have 2 volumes of Rust, but I have not read it.
I read volume 1 and I really liked it, and I need to get back and read it. That's definitely a Kristen book.
We'll have to do that one.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
It'll give me a reason to buy the rest.
I don't think they're very expensive.
Yeah, I don't think so. Hopefully, watch them be out of print now that we talked about it.
Of course. Yeah, so this was a great surprise. I was really happy with it. It doesn't take long to read, but you don't want to rush through it because lots of stuff happens in it.
Mhm.
Lots of stuff happens in it. The next book was really surprising. Anya's Ghost. Now, how'd you hear about this one?
I've seen this at my library for years, and I finally found it for really cheap, so I picked it up. What got me was Neil Gaiman on the front said it was a masterpiece. Also, I like the cover, and it's first second. So I was like, well, these are all positive things. Neil Gaiman likes it. It's first second. I like the cover, and I really like the art once I opened it. That's all I needed.
And was this your first time reading it, or was this a reread for you?
It was my first time reading it. Yeah.
Okay. I like the art style a lot. I'm getting used to this Kristen kind of art. And I like it a lot because it can be very expressive using not a lot of lines, but it can be very expressive. And I like the simple kind of little hints of purple and stuff that are in there, and that's really it. Do you want to do the tell the quick overview while I show some
Sure.
art?
Yeah, let's do it. So the story, of course, is about Anya, who she's a teenager, right? I think.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely moody.
like 13. Somewhere in the 13 to 15-year-old thing, I think.
Yeah, something like that. So, one day she's walking home from school, I believe. Yeah, home from school. And she trips and falls down into I don't know. I still don't kind of understand. Is it like a well hole? Like what?
Yeah.
Something like that.
It's a hole that's just there in the ground, and apparently nobody's done anything about it.
Yeah, which is
in
very
years.
dangerous.
Yeah, it's just a dangerous well.
So once she falls down there, as you can see the bones there, she encounters a ghost who was of a girl who'd done the same thing. She fell down there. She never got out. She died. So this ghost starts talking to her. And Anya, you know, she's a teenager. She's rebelling. She smokes. You know, she's got an attitude. And Anya starts talking to her. And, you know, she's kind of scared of her at first, but then she just keeps talking to her and realizes, oh, she's like harmless. Like there's not anything bad about her. And she realizes at some point, let's see, I think she goes home, right? Yeah, she goes home, and then the ghost appears at her school the next day, like with her. And she apparently has a little piece of the bones she found there in her bag, and that is how the ghost can stick around with her. So the rest of the book, this ghost is hanging out with her at school. She's helping her cheat on tests. She's helping her change and do things maybe she wanted to do or didn't want to do. I don't know how much of this I want to ruin, but this ghost isn't so nice after all, we find out.
That was an amazing twist that I never saw coming.
Yeah.
Anya is the daughter of Russian immigrants, and her mom is still pretty Russian, but Anya has done everything she can to get rid of her Russian accent and become as American as possible. And she's still having trouble fitting in at school. There's a poor little kid that's also from Russia, and he's just gets picked on all the time.
I love that kid.
Yeah, I feel sorry for him. But you see the ghost like all the time now. I thought the ghost was just going to be a kind of a side note, and it'd be more of a coming of age story. But this ghost is like in her world, helping her kind of. The ghost actually helps her navigate some of the social tests that you go through in high school, like talking to boys, going to parties, knowing how to dress. The ghost actually kind of helps her a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the twist when it came, and I don't want to spoil it for anybody. First of all, this is also getting 5 stars from me. I'm going to do a halfway at the end of the month, which is only a week away. I'm going to do a halfway books halfway through the year, my favorite books, and this and Snapdragon are going to be 2 of them. The twist in this book and where it goes from there, and how it affects Anya, and brings out maybe more of I don't know if I want to say more of a true side of her, but more of a sympathetic side of her, more of an understanding side of her. She also grows up getting exposed to this ghost, and you should read it, and I don't want to spoil it for you, because when you find out what this ghost is really up to, it's just awesome. It's really good. It's almost scary.
Yeah, it's definitely creepier than I thought it would be, especially when we find out all those things. Like,
right.
I won't ruin it either, but didn't you love the part where she ends up teaming up with that kid and everything they did together? Like with the computers and stuff at the librry and that whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of don't want to say, but yeah, I love that. I loved it.
With the microfiche.
Yeah.
I remember having to use that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. I think this. It was handled perfectly. When you get a twist like this, that you never see coming, it needs to be handled really well. And this was handled perfectly. I was just shocked, and it made it a much richer experience because I blazed through this one. This was a page turner.
Definitely.
I probably should have slowed down, but I was flipping through the pages as fast as I could go.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, these are both, you sit down and you read them. Like you have to know what happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, especially when you get to the twist in this and then you're just like, wait, what? Like what's this going to be?
Yeah.
And it was definitely something maybe deeper than you first expect. For sure.
Oh yeah.
And they do address the big hole in the ground toward the end, which is great. I was like, you're going to have to fix that, guys. Like,
Yeah, it sounds like it took them 90 years to do it, though. I'm not. What's going on in that town?
yeah, right? It's like a baby Jessica situation. Like, let's not. Like, why is that happening in the ground?
And so these last two ones were my two picks, and they turned out to. And I didn't even know that they were young adult books, and one's graphic novel for kids. They just sounded really interesting to me, and I didn't actually care. And I don't think that as a viewer out there, you should let the fact that it says graphic novel for kids or young adult, don't let that scare you off, because these, especially this book, was really, in my opinion, was really strong, and this Green Lantern Legacy was really fun and different. So don't let yourself be swayed by the fact that these are targeted for young adults. Let yourself experiment with them, and I think you'll be happily surprised. What did you think of these books?
Well, I will say, to say something to that, we recently in the group, I know a lot of you watching are in the group, had someone post about how angry they were that DC was doing this line of graphic novels for kids and young adults. And I will say, to their point, they were like, well, everything is like a Riverdale and there's relationships. I'm like, not really, not everything. Like, not all of these. So there are gems in the bunch. And yeah, exactly like you said, don't be like, oh, that's just for kids. Like, that's going to cut you off from so many good books. Everything, like half the things we've talked about. If you're like, oh, that's a young adult book, that's a kid's book, like, what are you doing with your life? Just read it. Have a nice time.
Yeah.
You're not going to cut yourself off from Bone, are you? Come on, just because it's a kid's book?
Yeah.
What?
Oh, yeah. That reminds me. I've got this Zatanna book. This is a DC for kids book, too. I want to read this.
Yeah, I've read, and the Harley Quinn book. Did you ever read that one?
I think that's on my wish list. I don't think I bought it yet. Did you read that?
I read it and loved it.
Oh, what's that one called again?
Harley Quinn Breaking Glass. It's Tamaki. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you're going to love it. It's great.
I should make sure I write that down. So which one would you like to talk about first?
Let's start with Green Lantern, because I feel like everybody's going to want to not everybody. Some people may want to know what I think about Superman. More than this one.
You're famous for not being a fan of Superman. So we'll take it. Do you want to read the back of the book, or you want me to read the back of the book while you show the art?
You can read the back of the book. You may want to show the art, though, because I have it on an iPad. So.
Oh, okay. Well, then.
It would be easier for you.
Okay.
And I don't have the back of the book here.
Okay. This is a young. Now, wait a minute. These look like Vietnamese names.
I believe they are. Yeah.
Yeah, they are Vietnamese.
Yeah.
In Coast City. It starts out 13. Of course, these are Vietnamese names, so who knows if I'm saying them right. 13-year-old Thai Pham lives in the apartment above his grandmother's store, where his bedroom is crammed with sketch pads and comic books. but not even his most imaginative drawings can compare to the colorful world he's about to discover. When Ty inherits his grandmother's jade ring, he soon finds out that it's more than just a piece of jewelry. Suddenly, he's inducted into a group of space cops known as the Green Lanterns. He is about to learn that being a superhero takes more than just a ring. Does Ty have the willpower and the imagination to uphold his grandmother's legacy? And it used the Vietnamese word for grandmother. And they were good. They gave a glossary in here, but they didn't say how to pronounce the words. But they gave a glossary in here, and it's Ba. Uphold his Ba's legacy. And so it's about his very traditional Vietnamese family, where she was the matriarch, and she also turned out to be a Green Lantern, which I think is a cool idea of having a Vietnamese grandmother from the old country being a Green Lantern.
I think that was kind of the coolest part.
Yeah, I agree.
When the kid finds out that, he's like, what? Like, my awesome grandma was like, that's awesome.
And Jon Stewart is chosen to mentor him. And there is, of course, a bad guy in this. Lots of Green Lanterns appear. And it's about how the young man needs to the Green Lantern is always used with your willpower, so he has to learn how to control his willpower, and he ends up designing some clothes for himself as a Green Lantern that he likes better, that are more traditional than the skin tight Green Lantern outfit. And the antagonist, you knew right away who the antagonist was going to be. I will say that was telegraphed pretty far in advance. But they did cool things with him, with the antagonist, with the Green Lantern Corps, with what the kid wants to. Here he is with his new uniform that he's designed, that he likes a lot better, that looks like more traditional Vietnamese clothing.
Yeah, he said the other one was way too tight.
Yeah. I just got a huge kick out of this. It was just, we read comic books because we want them to be fun, and this thing was just really fun. It was a different take on a Green Lantern that I really enjoyed. I don't know. I just want to reiterate, don't let yourself get caught in the trap of this book's for kids, because this was a really cool new take on Green Lantern for me.
Yeah, I think that's the best word for it too. I thought it was really fun. I went into this like, I've never read a Green Lantern book. So
okay.
These are also great for people who don't know anything, because it's a totally different thing, right? With, I'm sure, things that do relate, and they just change some stuff. But especially when I read these books, I'm like, how great is it if you are a young Vietnamese kid who can pick this up and see yourself, with the ring and like having the superpowers, kind of like this kid felt. He's like, wait, me out of everybody? Like,
yeah.
So I love that. I love that these books are great for kids. They're really diverse. They have good characters, and it's good fun. That's the best word for it. It was really good fun. I like the art a lot.
Yeah, I did too. I mean, I'm not saying this is Watchmen or Dark Knight Returns or something, but it hits on some philosophical points. what it means to be an immigrant in the U.S. and what it means to be a space cop and amongst other aliens, and what it's like to be a kid. And I feel like too much of a steady diet of super serious superhero books can lead to there's so much more out there. Instead of shrinking your horizons, you should be broadening your horizons. And this is one way to do it, just to see what else is out there. It's still a superhero book, but it's at a way different angle than you're used to. And not everything has to be as serious as X-Men all the time. It can just be a fun Green Lantern legacy. Kid inherits a jade ring and turns out he's a boss space cop.
Which is really a nice throwback to like how comics used to be, right? Because we've had these conversations where people will come into comic shops and be like, "Hey, I need a Batman book for my kid." Well, you don't really have one.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that you can be like, "Here, I don't want this crazy amount of violence. I don't want it to be really dark." Well, so it's really cool that DC is making these books where you can be like, "Okay, here's your Green Lantern book for a kid," where they can just jump in, they don't have to know anything, and it's not going to be some super serious thing. You're just going to have fun.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a good gateway to get a kid in to it, but it's into comic books. But it's also kind of like a little sorbet after my steak. It's a little palate cleanser that I really enjoyed. Actually, it's probably not the best analogy because I think this is more nutritious than just sorbet. So,
but just as delightful.
Yes, exactly. Now that I know how fun these books are, I'm just wondering what took me so long on the Harley Quinn book.
Oh, you got to read Harley Quinn. I also loved Batgirl, Shadow of a Batgirl. That was great.
Shadow of the Batgirl. I think you just said something in the chat about that.
I think I saw Freddie did. He said he has to get it. Yeah.
Oh, gotta get Shadow of the Batgirl. Yeah, okay. Shadow of the Batgirl, and then this might actually be a way for me to use my Hoopla.
That's where I've been reading them.
Aha.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Very good. Okay, I am going to do that then because I want to read that Harley Quinn book.
Someone else mentioned the Oracle Code, which I also read and enjoyed. And that's another in the young adult line.
Yeah, the Oracle Code. Yeah, that's one of the young adult books as well. Indeed, Dutch writer. Oracle. Does that involve what's that about?
It's the Barbara Gordon one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's good.
Okay. I've got my work cut out for me then. I've got several books that I need to read.
Just don't read the Catwoman one.
Yeah, no, I heard that one was disturbing.
I'll never...
Something disturbing happens in it.
I'll never forget it. There's some animal abuse that's really terrible. That is seared into my brain, and I wish I hadn't read it.
Yeah, I don't... I have the free comic book day comic, but I have a feeling it's in it. That the disturbing thing might be in the free comic book day comic.
I mean, read it if you want. Just know that
I can't. No, I can't.
No.
That. I can't handle that at all.
No.
No, I'm not into that at all. Oh, here's a super chat. Thank you, buddy. Seidel for $5. Thank you very much for the super chat. Do you suspect recent favorites such as East of West and or Criminal will reprint their hardcover editions, or if I should pay $150 on eBay?
We should never pay $150 on eBay.
No. This is actually, I'm not, I always look at the books like they're going to answer my question. Well, East of West, are you getting a reprint? My feeling on East of West is when the new, I think book 3 is supposed to be coming out because I believe he just finished. So when book 3 comes out, I imagine that book 2 would get reprinted.
Image is really good about doing that. I've noticed.
Yeah.
When they release the next book, they're like, here, you can also get the other one now again.
Right. So it wouldn't surprise me a bit if you can wait till like when East of West 3 gets announced. A little bit after, they'll probably announce number 2. Now, Criminal is getting reprinted. That's an easy one to answer. Do not pay anything like $150 for Criminal. Both
That's for sure
Criminals,
happening. Yeah.
yeah, both Criminals 1 and 2 are getting reprinted with new trade dress to match the new Criminal Volume 3 that's coming out. This is all much later in the year, I think maybe December. So you'll be able to get a match set of Criminal 1, 2, and 3, and it'll look really good as opposed to on my shelf where I have the old versions of Criminal 1 and 2, and I am not going to upgrade. I do not have non-matching spine disorder like some people do.
It's for the best.
Yeah, but I am going to get Volume 3 of Criminal. So, Seidel, thank you for the chat. Be patient, and you will be rewarded. Please don't pay that kind of dosh on eBay, especially for books that, well, Criminal's definitely getting a reprint, and I bet the odds are like 90% that East of West gets reprinted. Okay, you are welcome. Yeah, I saw that, Bruce. It's hard to know when Lazarus 2 will get a reprint, so that's a decision you had to make. It's a great book, but you had to make that decision, and I'm certainly not going to point fingers at you.
Bruce was also asking about the overall sales on the preteen books. Are they outselling the adult books? I don't know the answer to that, but I would not be surprised if that's yes. They are huge in libraries. You can get them in pretty much any library because kids want them. So I wouldn't be surprised. Raina Telgemeier is one of the biggest selling graphic novelists. Recently, her last book, I guess it was a few months ago, hit the #1 New York Times bestselling list of just all the books.
Wow.
That does not usually happen with comics of any sort.
Yeah.
So the kids' graphic novels market is enormous.
Wait a minute. Who let this guy in? Why is Batman Year 2 better than Year 1? Asking for a friend. Get out of here with your crazy question, you. You know better than to ask that. I let you do a whole show about it, where you defended Batman Year 2. You son of a gun. That's Omar. The uncanny Omar. Let's see, there's Kenny. I like the DC Young Adult book line. I hope we do a Supergirl book for the line down the road. I agree.
I'm sure that'll happen.
Yeah. I was the show. Okay, Nearman Condition, you were the show. Let me. I was the show. We still have to talk about Superman smashes the Clash, but
the Klan. If he was smashing the Clash in this book,
oh my god,
I would be so mad.
Crazy. Smashes the Clash. They're reprinting Being Super with new colors for that young adult line.
Oh.
Being Super is such a good book.
That's fun. That's a good idea too. That would be great in that line.
That is a great book.
I loved it too.
Superman is not smashing the Clash. Right, he's smashing the Klan.
That'd be a terrible story. Ugh.
I know. No one. I wouldn't want to read.
I would hate that.
I know. Since Omar's in the chat, Omar, where is Spider getting Omni? Asking for a friend. Remember, you have to say happy birthday first. That gets a response from him. this is a legit question before we talk about Superman smashes the Klan. I don't want to get too much into it, but
Oh, I do. I'm just kidding.
okay. Here's your husband. Joe Strummer would destroy
Yes.
that.
Yes, he would.
Okay, we can talk about this as much as you want. I'm an admin on the page and just wrestled with it for the past 3 days to the point where it's the life from me.
Yeah.
Candace says, I know there's been some controversy about a couple comic creators recently. Do such claims affect how or what you read? That's a good question. That is something that we talk about all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Amongst,
We talked about before on the show with certain creators. And
right.
I mean, I've been on record with it. I'll say it again, 100%. It affects me and what I will support, especially when the creator is getting all the money or the majority of the money. If they did everything, if they're the one that's writing it, and I know that they did terrible things. Yeah. Well, versus like, let's say a TV show and someone did something bad on a TV show. Well, if they're just an actor, you know, they boot them off and then you can still enjoy the show, right? Because there's a lot of other people involved versus comics are really personal and usually the one writing it or creating it, they're getting all the money. So I don't feel comfortable supporting someone that I know is terrible. Again, there's a lot of people we don't know are terrible. That's great. You know, I can't do it.
The problem I have is that I already own a ton of the stuff by some of these creators.
Well, you don't have to burn your books.
No, I'm not advocating that.
Don't do that.
No, and it is kind of it does put you in a different mindset when all of this, depending on what it is. If it's a creator that's controversial because he has different political views than you do, that's one thing. But
Sure.
if you're talking about somebody that takes advantage of underage kids or some kind of sexual assault or something to do with kids, something to do with women using their place of
Their power.
Yeah, if they use their power to gain an advantage, then I don't think I haven't had since this has happened recently with the two creators that we're talking about. I haven't had a chance to buy anything from them. I either own what I want from them, or I just don't. I'm just not interested in anything else by them. But I'm struggling with that because I grew up in a time where you didn't know jack about anybody. You just, I don't, now I am not somebody that subscribes to the theory that none of us could undergo this kind of microscopic examination. You can examine me, and I haven't been grooming any 13-year-old girl for, my mentoring program or whatever.
Well, and I think the age there, yes, that's disgusting and terrible, but some of these people were young adults. That still matters. It doesn't matter. Like at 20, your brain is still not fully developed.
Right.
That's just the truth. And you're still taking advantage of these people who can be made or can be broken by, one, just generally what's happening, and two, their careers could be completely washed out from whatever you do. Like you could kill their career with your power in this specific situation we're talking about. It's all terrible. It's all bad. I don't think it's a struggle. I mean, for me, it sucks. And especially with what we're, the specific recent one we're talking about, a lot of people love his work. But I don't know. For me,
he's my favorite writer.
I'm like,
I've got a ton of his stuff, and now what am I? I mean,
You'd say he's your all-time favorite, really?
I think he is. Yeah.
Yeah, that super sucks. It totally sucks.
Yeah.
Like it really does. But I don't know, if something came out about Lemire tomorrow for me, I'd be like, that's too bad. That's terrible, and that's too bad. I can't support him anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. And these are, again, to draw the distinction, this is different than if somebody's a Republican and you're a Democrat, and
Yeah, that's not what's happening here.
Yeah, this is stuff that's way way different than that, and it's enough that it makes me pause. Can I enjoy that book anymore from that writer? I don't know. I haven't tried to read anything by either of those two writers that caught the hashtag this week. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to find out. I don't see how it can't affect me.
Yeah, I think Freddie's making a good point. He said he wouldn't run off to get rid of the books he has, but he wouldn't buy more from them because, I mean, you already bought those books. You didn't know at the time what was going on. I think that's different. But I think it is a choice that we all should be conscious of. Bruce is saying that my book written by someone, or my buying a book written by someone who may not have done something illegal, does not mean you support. Well, it kind of does. You're giving money to that person, right? That person is making money still actively if you buy a book from them.
Yeah, and this is where we still have a book to review. I don't want to get dragged down this because it always ends.
We can stop. I'm just,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, I don't know, especially that thread in the group, I almost said stuff a few times and I was like, there's no point. I think if people don't get it, they don't get it. If you're not in that mindset, you're not going to be, if that makes sense. I don't know. I think a lot of people lost the point of the whole thing.
Right. And we're going to have a new policy in there where if anything controversial like that happens, we're going to put a link up without commenting. And we're going to say, if you're interested, here's the link. Go there and, find out about it. But it's not for discussion on the page at all. It has nothing to do with collected editions. If you want to find out more about it, here's the link. You go investigate. Because it's so much negative energy, and especially when you're an admin and you've got to read all this stuff and you've got to kick people out and you've got to be a cop about everything. It's just not good for the health of the page or the people that are trying to enjoy the page.
It's hard, yeah. Because even me, I was interested. I wanted to learn more about what was happening. I want to hear people talk about this. People in the chat, like, I'm interested in what people are thinking. But even reading through that post, I was just like, oh my gosh, I end up just being very upset over a lot of what people are saying.
No, that's okay, Candace. I could have chosen to wait on your question, but it's probably going to be talked about at Omni Bros tomorrow at noon too. So it's just everybody deals with it differently, and it's a difficult thing to have to deal with. It's certainly nothing that I had to deal with growing up. I didn't know anything about anybody anywhere, and now all of a sudden anything anybody does is fair game. And when it's stuff like this, it really needs to be out in the open. Jez, you're a good man, despite what sober Omar says. There is no right answer. So you've gotten into the cranberry juice, have you? Yeah, Sam Cluxon, I didn't know what it was either. And everybody else in the admin chat did know what it was. And I was like, what are we talking about? And Sherlock Alexi was like, sweet Jess. And I'm like, what?
If you're tuned into comics Twitter, you hear about the stuff way before, and I know you're not even on Twitter. So,
No.
but that's how I found out about it.
Yeah.
People started posting about it.
That's why I stay off of Twitter. I don't want to see anything.
I want to know what's happening, you know?
Yeah. Oh, Omar's into the margaritas now.
Ah, of course.
Nice. Very nice. Well, we do have one more book that was my it is for young adults. Margaritas. Okay, I can take that up now. Superman Smashes the Klan, and I believe it was adapted from a movie serial or
it was a radio show.
Okay. And it's got more of the art that
the Kristen art.
It's got more of this art that we've there's been a theme throughout the show. This very simple, clean styled art.
It looked like an animated series to me. Like it was really animated. I liked it.
Oh, I loved this book.
Oh, I meant the art.
Oh. It involves Roberta and Tommy Lee just moved with their parents from Chinatown to the center of Metropolis, home to the famous hero Superman. Tommy makes friends quickly, while Roberta pines for home. Then one night, the family awakens to find their house surrounded by the Klan of the Fiery Cross. Superman leaps into action, but his exposure to the mysterious green rock has left him weak. Can Roberta and Tommy help him smash the Klan? When I first heard this as a premise for a book, I thought that is the hokiest thing ever. This is going to be the dumbest thing from the 1940s. A smash with the Klan. Can we get something contemporary, something interesting? Lo and behold, this is as timely as any book that's ever been written. It is perfect for this time period.
It was eerie reading it right now.
It really was, because it almost made me tear up. I felt like we hadn't made any progress at all since the 40s. Truly. I know that's not true, but
that is how it feels right now, though.
Yeah,
in this very specific time.
It really does. The artwork is really cool, and it deals with the Lees, who are Chinese, and they're trying to fit in Metropolis. They came from Chinatown, and they get singled out by the Klan to try and make them scared and leave Metropolis. There's several things going on in this book. The fact that Superman is exposed to kryptonite for the first time. He doesn't know what it is. Superman's also coming to terms with the fact that he's an alien also on planet Earth. Lois and Jimmy are in it, and Jimmy helps a youth group that has all kinds of different kinds of kids in it, and Tommy Lee shows up and turns out to be a really good pitcher, and displaces one of the white kids as the starting pitcher, and white kid goes home, complains about it, and it turns out that his uncle is grand idiot of the Fiery Cross or whatever. And it deals with all kinds of angles on racism. The ignorance, the general population ignorance, the violent racism of the Klan, who look to violence as a way to solve the racial impurity problem that they see. There's all kinds of there's coming of age stuff going on in this because they're just kids. They are Superman does show up in the nick of time in a few instances, but in a few instances he does not get there in time. But as I said, he's also dealing with his own feelings of being an alien, and he's also getting exposed to some alien technology that helps him grasp who he is, courtesy of some old crystals that grew in the seafloor, and help him understand more of who he becomes and why he's holding back. He's holding back his powers because he wants to fit in. And while I thought this book was really well illustrated, really well written, I really, of course, like Gene Lin Yang, who did Boxers and Saints and the new Superman and American Born Chinese.
And I'm currently reading Dragon Hoops by him.
Ah, that's the one that feels like a basketball, right?
Yeah, and it's so shiny.
Oh, I want to get that.
Maybe we should read this next time.
Oh, okay. That's a great one.
Let's do it.
The only thing that detracted it from me, as Kristen and I said, is that it feels like right now this story could happen. The way things are like a powder keg, it feels like a match could just light the whole country on fire. Racism,
in some ways has. Yeah.
Sorry?
In some ways has.
Yeah, it's racism is alive and well, and people are actively fanning the flames of it. Present day, it's 2020, and this is something that took place back in the 40s. The year's 1946. And there are a lot of lessons that can be learned in this book. I really enjoyed it, but it really just, I sat there for 10 minutes afterwards and just sort of wondered, where are we headed?
Yeah, I did the same thing. Another thing that I'm going to touch on, you said, there's a lot of different kinds of racism in this book, tons of it. Even among, toward the beginning when the Klan lit that cross on the Lee's yard and they came out and the police officers showed up, and there's some of them, especially the head police officer who's a black man, and they pretty much tell him to leave and they didn't want his help.
The Chinese Americans, yeah.
Yeah, and that's from the Lees to them. And thankfully they learn better by the end, and they help each other. And, there's good things to be learned throughout all of this. But even little moments like that, it's like that's still happening every single day here. It's crazy. I also love this. I really loved it. Guy's first Superman book, and I loved it. Now, I'd say, though, this is really not about Superman. So there's that. But because this story could be told with anyone, right? That's how I felt.
It does deal with his being an alien and his trying to fit in and using only half his powers so he doesn't scare people, because he does eventually fly and he starts to scare people because they think he's too powerful. And that happens like that.
Which was like its own metaphor for racism and being scared of what you don't know.
Right.
And that sort of thing, which was a great parallel. I love that. I thought it was really, really well done. If you guys do read this, please read the end where the author talks about his own experience, which was really great. You read that, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. You looked at me like maybe you didn't. That I really love that. His own. Yeah, when he was a child and everything he dealt with, it was really, really well done. I loved it. And yeah, but it was just scary. It's just really scary because it was like, wow, I hate that I can see so much in this old-timey story in the year right now around us.
Yeah, it was bittersweet for sure. No, there was nothing sweet about it. I was just very angry and sad.
Yeah. So I guess you could read this and then read Green Lantern, where you'll be a little happier.
Yeah, and lessons are learned in this book. You know, everybody, including Superman, Lois Lane, Jimmy, the Lees, everybody learns a lesson. There's larger lessons to be learned here. It's not like a textbook happy ending, but there are no loose ends, and there are lessons to be learned. I think if this book had come out, I don't know, 2014 or something, maybe we would have felt differently reading it.
Mm-hmm.
Just like right now is just the weirdest time to try and read this book,
Or the most appropriate time.
Well,
right.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Maybe now more than ever, this is the kind of book we need to be reading.
Well, that is a good point. That is a good point, because we are definitely at the point now where there's no more sitting on the sidelines for anybody.
Yeah, which is one of the great things Superman does do in this, right? Because he's the one who's like, everybody, we should be nice to everybody. Like, we should care about everyone. We should not be treating people like this. It doesn't make any sense. You know, it's good things we all need to be learning if we haven't already, which clearly a lot of people haven't.
Yeah. Yeah. So you owe it to yourself to read Superman Smashes the Klan. And that's Reed's next book, Superman Smashes the Clash, where he has Joe Strummer be the superhero.
He'd probably have that be the Clash smashes Superman.
The Clash smashes Superman. So yeah, I really like the fact that we're reviewing the same books and getting our different viewpoints on these books.
Yeah, because if you would have read this alone, you'd still not know what's happening.
Who would Lulu be? I wouldn't even know Lulu.
Yeah, so that's another thing. I mean, we said it last time. If you guys want us to read something specific, clearly someone wants us to read some Marvel, so we got to figure that out.
Yeah. Here's something by Smotlock. Hey, Smotlock. Jess and Kristen, have either of you read The Fix by Nick Spencer and Steve Lieber?
You know, I haven't, but have been wanting to for a few years now. I just never did.
I've heard of it, but I don't think I have it.
I believe Hoopla has it.
Is it? It sounds like it's a Marvel book. I wonder if it's on Marvel Unlimited.
I believe that's an Image book.
Oh, it's an Image book? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, The Fix. Yeah, okay.
I think there's like a dog on the cover, if I'm remembering right. Someone's going to be like, that's not it. I think so.
Oh, Candace has a good idea. Would be a good idea if DC Animation does a film of Superman Smashes the Class.
That would be cool. He did it again.
Smashes the Class. What a weirdo. That would be good. Is The Fix something, Smotlock, that you...
I was right about the dog. There's a dog.
Oh, wait, let me highlight you.
The first three. It's an Image book.
Oh, okay. And that's Hoopla you're looking at?
That's right.
Right on, man. It is so funny. Omar had it on his hidden gems. It is Image. Okay. Do I dance as well as I boast?
Do you boast about that?
I don't I can't dance at all. I have 2 replacement knees, so I can't dance at all. Have I been boasting a lot? Is that some play on my last name or something? Same. I'm sorry you lost me there. I don't usually you're actually quite charming and funny, but I don't. I'm not getting this one. Have I boasted about something? Oh, it's a line from Man of Green Gables, my favorite show. Ah, okay. Even better. Thank you, Sam. Kristen, Jess, did either of you order the Neil Gaiman Library Edition this week?
No, I heard lukewarm things about it, so I was like, I'll read that on Hoopla.
I didn't hear anything about it. What is it? Is it some of his? Oh! It's a collection of his stuff, like How to
I
Talk
don't
to Girls.
think they're all by him, unless I'm wrong. I don't think they're all by him.
Oh,
This is what I thought was weird about it. I could be wrong. Somebody correct me, but that's the last I heard.
If you like Superior Foes of Spider-Man by them, you'll love it. Same tone. I love that book. It's a funny crime story. Okay. He's talking about me, Prime. I'm just Prime. Who? Okay. That's what I look like without any facial hair. Anybody listen to the audiobook by Neil Gaiman, The Graveyard Book?
I've been wanting to read that. Is that good, Bruce? I hear that's good. I love a good audiobook.
Oh, Hayden, you didn't get a notification?
Aww.
I hate that.
Sorry, Hayden.
I'm so sorry. I have trouble with YouTube.
I don't think it's just you. I think it's a YouTube problem.
Yeah. Darn it. Sorry, Hayden. Well, you can go back and watch all our fascinating topical conversations about books we read, which we liked all of them. So we will get together and figure out what the next books we're going to read. Did we feel like we already had a candidate?
I mentioned Dragon Hoops.
Oh, yeah.
That could be a fun one. Someone said Marvel. I don't think we got to a book on that, though.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah.
Something from Marvel.
And here's something from that Reed guy. I would love to watch you guys review some absolute 90s trash and try to find positive things. We always try to find positive things.
It's true. What kind of 90s trash, Reed?
Jess is my real name. I was named after my grandfather. Oh, Smotlog, you got to read that book. That's a great book, Spider-Man Life Story.
I just started that the other day. I'm enjoying it.
Oh, I really like that book a lot. I have Maximum Minimum Wage. I have that book.
Oh, Reed's currently reading that.
I don't remember it
That's
being
funny.
that. Was it really that cringy? I don't remember it being that cringy.
My glance through it made me not want to read it at all.
Oh.
So I was like, "Oh, what is this? What are you reading?"
I agree with Reed here. Spice World
yes.
is an international treasure.
100%. He's quoting me. I say that.
Okay. I love Spice World.
Love Spice World.
Yeah, I 100% love it.
It's so funny. It's so underrated. I'm not even joking. I am so serious. It is so underrated. There are so many great cameos in that.
Oh,
Meatloaf is
yeah.
the bus driver. Come on.
Yeah.
Meatloaf.
It's funny and it's very funny.
It's ridiculous and they know it is. That's
Yeah.
why it's so good.
But your Google Hangout name used to be Jester Bragg. Is that a nickname like Braggadocio? Yes. I think Kabuki already is getting. I believe Kabuki's already has something coming out.
I think they're the paperback Omnis,
Yeah,
maybe.
they're like paperback Omnis. I think one of them, at least one of them's already out.
I think you're right. I feel like I've seen it.
Yeah. Amazon. What am I looking for? Kabuki, Omnibus, Volume 1. Both Kabuki Omnibus Volume 1 and Volume 2 are already out, and Volume 3 is coming out this week. So the Kabuki reprint Omnibus softcover are coming out, and this is your chance to get them. Okay. Well, thank you to the chat. I could stay here longer, but I have a Zoom call with my daughter at 6. And after that, I'm thinking about going to a mystery island in Animal Crossing, and I haven't done that yet.
Yeah, and I gotta go to the store, unfortunately. Do you want to see my new mask, though, before we go?
Oh, yeah.
I just...
Special?
Oh, gosh. I love it. Come on. Come on. That's what I'll be wearing out. It's going to be great.
That is great.
So they better stay back.
Yeah. Thank you to the chat. I appreciate it. Sam Cluxon says, great show.
Thank you, Sam.
Best thing omnibuses instead of giving Omar the satisfaction of someone else saying that ridiculous name.
I won't say it either. I think it's stupid.
Yeah. I agree. Thank you to the chat. This was great. We really had an in-depth, very good conversation. And Kristen and I are not ones to shy away from whatever the topics are. And I'm glad those questions got asked and we got to talk about them, because that's the world we live in now.
Definitely.
But we will be back in 2 weeks with some new books to review. And when is the next Fangirls Assemble?
That'll be tomorrow night. The reason I'm rereading Chew is because that's what we're talking about. So we will be talking about Chew. Maddie's never read it.
Oh.
And I'm rereading it. It'll be a fun time. You know, show up with your chogs. We're going to talk about it.
So thank you. Tomorrow, let's see. Tomorrow's OmniBros Live at noon. And then Monday's OmniBros Live at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'll be releasing some videos at some point. So thank you very much for watching. Genuinely appreciate it. Please give us a like, subscribe, leave a comment. We always respond to comments. And peace and love. Peace and love. Thank you for watching. We really appreciate it.